Hey guys, what's going on? This is Daniel, the product marketing manager at Ansel. And today I've got a new FreedomCast that's all around software-defined networking. And to break down what could be a pretty complicated subject and make it hopefully simple, what I've done is come up with 5 pretty simple scenarios or examples of what you might do with these various isolated networks and connecting them to the outside world, which is what you do with software-defined networking. And yeah, just going to run through that and show how simple and easy it is with antMan and how you might do it as well. So without further ado, the first one of the examples that we're going to do, it's really straightforward. We're going to just set up one vLAN, so one virtual LAN, and throw in a Kali Linux VM and a Windows VM. The idea here is that we may have some project where we want to exploit some vulnerability in Windows and see how that kind of calls back home. And obviously we don't want to be doing that out in the wild, but have it isolated in a virtual network. And before I dig into it here, actually the first 4 examples that we're going to cover are going to be more around cybersecurity DevOps types projects that you might do in a lab and things that you might want to test out instead of doing it in your production environment. And then the 5th example would be an example of how you could use virtual networks to incorporate your Ansel server into a kind of a larger corporate network. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So as you can see here, I've created a variety of different antlets that I'm going to be working with. And I'm going to head over to our new SDN tab. And I'm going to create a new virtual network. I'm going to call that Hack 2020. Give it a VLAN ID of 1. It's very original. And I'm very simply going to add my Windows 10X, which has that vulnerability I want to test. And I'm going to add Kali Linux. Connect those 2 antlets together. Now, within those antlets, we have a new virtual NIC, and that will allow them, and those will both just be on the same isolated network, and that will allow them to talk to each other. And we obviously need to then go into those virtual machines, probably set both a static IP address so they can actually communicate with each other. And that's all stuff you would do inside your VM, but this is all you need to do to get it ready just from your Ansel dashboard, or your Ansel management console. So hopefully that's really simple, really easy, and straightforward, and fast. So I'm going to delete this, keep things clean here, and I'm going to go on to the next scenario. So in the next example, I have 2 different networks, and the only way they can communicate with each other is through this firewall that's in the middle. So that may be, I don't know, Palo Alto, SonicWall, or pfSense, or whatever firewall you know and love. I'm going to hop right on over here and start creating without further ado. So again, the reason why you may want to do this, let's just see, this would be, I'll call this prod 1. The reason why you might want to do this is you may want to be testing things and understanding how your firewall reacts or how that software reacts in different situations without actually doing it in real life. A lot of guys that I talk with are like, hey, I have, let's say, some new tool, and I want to test and see how it works without actually doing something that might bring down a production system. And I want to just get accustomed to how does it respond in different situations? What kind of alerts does it throw? Or is the malware able to get past it or work around it? And a lot of guys that are really into cybersecurity are really into, the kind of the forefront of these things are just doing this kind of stuff a lot. And yeah, this sounds like a pretty cool project to show. So let's see here. I'm going to throw in my Windows 10 and Palo Alto VM. I'm going to connect that. I'm going to create another one that has, I'm going to call it 2. And this is going to have my Kali Linux as an example again, and Palo Alto representing my firewall. And boom, that's all there is to it. So as you can see, these are both on separated virtual networks, and they're just connected through the Palo Alto. So they want to talk to each other, that's going to have to go through the firewall. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave this for my next example. And my next example is setting up a mirrored VLAN. And all that means is that you may have some monitoring tools or monitoring software that you want isolated, but you want it to be able to check and sniff on what's going on in a separate virtual network, and you may want to do it on multiple, right? So, but in this case, we're just going to do one. So here I have the onion representing security onion, and I have here just a smattering of antlets representing what a corporate environment might look like. So I'm going to head back over to antMan, and I am going to create This will be called Watcher because there we go. That's the one that's watching it, and I'm going to create another one called Watched. That is the one that we are monitoring. And I'm going to add just a couple of random VMs to that one. Let's see how that goes. There we go, Windows 10. Oh, click that twice. Don't click the button twice. So here we go. I'm just going to throw on a few ones and connect. Boom. Here we go. I'll delete these other ones just to make things a little more simple, a little clearer for you. Wait for that to get done, and then I'm going to delete the next one. Here we go. All right. So traffic mirroring, I want to go from watched to watcher. So the source VLAN is watched, the mirror VLAN is watcher. Boom, done. There you go. So now you would just hop on over again into your Security Onion or whatever monitoring or event logging or auditing tool that you're doing, and you then can just start sniffing that traffic and seeing what's going on and seeing how it monitors and what kind of reports it throws out in different situations. And again, these are all things that you would be doing, theoretically in a lab type environment, but it may also be things that you're doing in production as well. Maybe you do actually have, on your Ansel servers, some isolated networks that you do want to have another monitoring tool watching and just keeping logs of everything that's going on. So here is a bit of an interesting one. Some of the guys that I talk with, especially in the cybersecurity realm, they have different audits, or they have, just different kind of, war games or things like that that they want to test out. And again, they don't want to do it on a production environment, but they want to really quickly replicate or stand up a production environment. And you actually can do that, or do a lot of that, with using our API and Terraform and things along those lines. But of course, you can also do it with our nifty antMan management console here. So again, what I want to create here is a smattering of different antlets here. I want one server that is similar to how the firewall was, one server that's in between both virtual networks, and then a few other, Windows VMs here. And the idea is that maybe I want to see how, some malicious threat or some, bad actor could be able to hop through different virtual environments or go through our corporate network, and, how our security team might respond, or how our, security tools might respond. So heading over here, I'll just call this net1, and I will add the windows to it. So that's going to be my windows. I'm just doing a few, right? Got to keep it fast. Keep it easy, keep it simple. Once that's done, I will head on over and create another one. I'll call this just net2. Very original names, I know. And I'm just going to add a few other random servers to that. Let's see, I think I have some dev and some other ones. All right, here we go. Just going to add QuickBooks, reporting, test, and dev. Here we go. Just a few more here. Oh, I forgot to do something really important. I want that Windows antlet to be on both of those. So I'm going to go here and edit it. And actually, this is a really great chance to show you how the editing works. Obviously, really straightforward. You just add this antlet, boom, add that Windows 10, connect, and there you go. That's all there is to it. So this actually exemplifies what I just showed here. Obviously, you may have way more complex stuff that involves a bunch of different things, but this is one way, or a very simple way, that you could replicate that. And the last thing that I'm going to show you is how you might incorporate some of your virtual networks or your isolated networks within Ansel onto a larger corporate environment that may be in AWS, maybe in the cloud, or maybe just on a bunch of rack mount servers. But obviously, you would have some kind of switch that Ansel server is connected to. And this is going to show you how you can then connect these VLANs here to other VLANs that exist on different servers. So as long as those VLANs have the same tag you can then have them basically expanded out into your Ansel server so that you have your virtual environment, let's just say that the accounting team or the sales team is using, and then you have a few of those antlets running on your Ansel server that you want to be accessible only to them. You can just join that and make that a larger VLAN with what I'm going to show you here. So without further ado, let's dive right in. This is where it gets fun. Let me delete these two and create another one. So what should I call this? Aha, I will call this dev team. Here we go. So we have the dev team on a VLAN, and we want a few of their antlets to be a part of that larger VLAN that we have for them in our corporate environment. So let's just say that I've tagged that VLAN with 33. What I'm going to do here then is connect it to one of our physical ports, one of our physical network interfaces on the back of the server. And what that does then is create a trunk that will allow me to have multiple virtual networks or multiple VLANs passing through that NIC into the outside world and connected to a switch, which should then obviously know where it all goes to and just basically, boom, seamlessly add it to a part of your larger network. And that should all happen in the background as long as you've configured it ahead of time on your side. This will do all the work of giving it the right VLAN and trunking it and sending it out. So here we go. I said this was dev, so let's give it test and dev. That's what we want to add. And there you go. Now your dev team has in their isolated network 2 new antlets added to it that are on your Ansel server. And I'm going to give you one more example. I'm going to have this be accounting. All right, let's just say I have them on vLAN ID number 66. I forgot to add a connected interface. So let's go ahead and connect that antlet ahead of time. We have our reporting in QuickBooks, we'll just say. Connect that. And then I'm going to edit this when I go back in. Oops, let's edit this one. And here's the thing. I can't go back and change it. So good lesson. Do it right the first time. Because Ansel is all around fast, easy flows. That sometimes means if you make a mistake, you might have to go back and do it again. So hopefully it's not going to take you much longer than the 2 minutes or 20 seconds it's going to take me here. So here I'm going to call that accounting again. And I'm going to give it that same VLAN ID. And then I'm going to connect it to that physical interface. So again, now we have 2 VLANs going through the same physical port from our Ansel that's then going into the outside world or to the rest of your network. And here we go. Doing it right this time. Go to QuickBooks and reporting. Boom! There you have it. All right, guys, I hope this was fun. I hope this was educational. And if you have questions about it and you're watching this on YouTube, leave me comments below. Smash the like button to let me know that you like it. And if you are not watching this on YouTube, if it's on our website or somewhere else, thanks for watching. Shoot us a note if you have any questions. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Talk to you soon.